Okay, let's unpack this. We're diving into a movement that wasn't just about making noise, but about completely redefining what it means to be young and independent.
We're talking about punk rock. But it's so much more than a music genre. It's really a philosophy, a way of life that just exploded in the mid-1970s.
And it was born out of total frustration, right?
Exactly. I mean,
Yeah.
if you put yourself back in the mid-70s, say in the US or the UK, mainstream rock was, well, it was huge. Arena bands,
Hmm.
progressive rock,
20-minute guitar solos.
yeah, that kind of thing. It was technically amazing, sure, but it felt so distant, so professional, and completely disconnected from what normal kids were feeling.
It basically sent a message that said, you can't do this.
Right. And punk was the total absolute rejection of that. The whole goal was to strip music back to its rawest form.
To make something that was honest, aggressive, and that, anyone could play. It didn't matter if you had an expensive guitar or even knew what a chord
The
was.
focus just shifted completely. It
Mm.
went from technical skill to pure, raw energy and emotion.
The message was basically, if you have three chords and something to say.
You've got a band. And that just lowered the barrier to entry instantly. It became this uh, truly democratic movement for a generation that felt totally ignored.
Let's jump into the sound itself, because it's so recognizable. You hear it and you just know.
Oh, yeah. It's that heavily distorted guitar like a buzzsaw. And everything's played at this breakneck speed.
And the songs are so short.
Super short, rarely over 3 minutes.
Hmm.
And that's intentional. It forces this urgency. Musically, it's deliberately simple.
3 or 4 basic chords just hammered out.
Exactly. Look at a band like the Ramones. Their genius was using that simplicity to get maximum impact. The music is just there to deliver the message as fast and loud as possible.
But that simplicity, that wasn't just an artistic choice, was it? It was also, well, economic.
100%. They couldn't afford the big fancy amps the arena bands were using.
So they just embraced what they had.
They did. Instead of dozens of expensive effects pedals, they'd just crank up a cheap little amplifier to get that harsh, abrasive distortion. It was a complete rejection of polish.
It proved that, your creativity matters way more than how much your gear costs.
And that carries over into the recording process, too. This is where that DIY philosophy really starts to shape the sound.
Right, because they weren't going into these huge, expensive studios.
No way. A lot of those iconic early records were made on these little 4-track cassette recorders. You could fit one on your desk.
Which gave the bands total control. They didn't need a big record label to pay for studio time.
And that raw, unpolished sound became part of the whole aesthetic. It proved you didn't need a massive budget to create something powerful and lasting.
And then you have the vocals on top of that. It's not singing, really. It's more like shouting.
It's pure passion. It might barely be on key, but that's the point. It's urgent. And the drums are just this relentless engine underneath it all.
A nonstop, fast, steady beat.
It's just pure energy for the band and for you in the audience.
And all of this, the sound, the cheap gear, the speed, it all feeds into the single most important idea of the whole movement.
Do it yourself. DIY.
Yeah. For any young creator listening, this is probably the most important lesson from punk.
Because DIY is more than just a method. It's a statement. It says you do not need permission from a big corporation or a record label to share your art.
You just build your own system.
You become your own infrastructure. I mean, think about it practically. A band couldn't get signed. They didn't just wait around.
They record their own single.
Exactly. They'd press a few hundred copies and then just sell them out of a backpack at their shows. You'd buy the record directly from the person who made it.
And it wasn't just music. There was the whole fanzine movement.
Oh, the zines were crucial. Fans didn't wait for big magazines to cover their local scene. They used a photocopier, some scissors, and glue.
To make their own magazines.
Yeah, these raw, immediate little magazines that spread news and reviews all through the community, completely outside of the mainstream media's control.
That's incredibly empowering. It shows you that you can take total control of your work, build your own community, and just bypass the whole commercial industry.
It's independence. And that desire for independence is what leads directly to the next core idea, the anti-establishment viewpoint.
Right. Once you start building your own system, you can't help but question the old one.
And punk questioned everything. It wasn't subtle about it either. It was a loud rejection of power structures.
Yep.
Big corporations, the government, the media, telling people what to think.
And schools pushing everyone to be the same.
Yeah, and the target could change depending on where you were. In the UK, you had bands like The Clash talking about economic inequality and unemployment. It was very political.
Whereas in the US, it was maybe more about criticizing conformity.
Often, yeah. criticizing suburban life and media control.
Hmm.
But the core idea is the same. Stop following blindly and go find your own truth.
This is where provocation comes in, right? The shocking clothes, the strong language. It wasn't just for show.
No, it was a tool, a
Yeah.
deliberate one. The point wasn't just to be rude.
It was to wake people up.
Exactly. To force conversations about things society wanted to ignore, like poverty or injustice. By wearing clothes held together with safety pins, they were forcing you to look at the world from a really uncomfortable angle.
They were testing the boundaries of what was acceptable.
It was a rejection of that polite silence that so often masks huge problems. It values your freedom to think for yourself and to challenge authority.
Okay, so let's shift from the big political ideas to something more personal. The idea of identity seems huge in punk.
It's central. The whole movement is a celebration of being unique. The core belief is that you should be able to express exactly who you are without any fear of judgment,
Which explains the mohawks and the dyed hair.
and all the clothing choices that go against popular fashion. The goal is the complete opposite of fitting in. It's about standing out as an individual.
Your look is basically a declaration of independence.
And for so many kids who felt like outsiders, the punk scene was like a sanctuary. It taught you that your value comes from your character and your actions.
Not from your bank account or how popular you are.
Right. It's an incredible confidence builder.
Mhm.
And even though the music is aggressive, the community itself is built on this powerful idea of equality.
That's so key. The idea that everyone in the crowd is just as important as the band on stage.
If you look at old pictures of venues like CBGB in New York, you'll see there were hardly any barriers between the audience and the performers, sometimes none at all.
It creates this sense of unity, like everyone's in it together.
It really does. It was designed to be a space where discrimination is rejected and people look out for each other.
So bringing this all forward, what's the impact today? Let's start with the visual style, because you still see it
The
everywhere.
visual language, yeah.
Yeah.
The torn jeans, leather jackets, safety pins. It all started as a symbol of rebellion against consumerism and neatness.
It was a statement saying, I reject your standards.
And it's fascinating because high-end fashion is constantly borrowing from punk now. But for people in the movement, it's still about personal expression, not following a trend.
The other concept that feels really relevant is authenticity.
Oh, absolutely.
Mhm.
In the punk world, the worst thing you can possibly be is a sellout.
Which means choosing money over your beliefs.
Choosing commercial success over your message. Fans expect bands to be real, to stay connected to their roots. They don't want the music to be overpolished just to get on the radio.
The art is what matters most.
Exactly. And this whole movement spread globally. It started in the US and UK, but it adapted to local struggles everywhere. From South America to Eastern Europe, it became a universal language of dissent.
And that DIY spirit is still alive and well, it's just that the tools have changed.
Completely. Instead of a photocopier and a fanzine, you have social media. Instead of a 4-track recorder, you have software on your laptop.
It's easier than ever to make music and share it instantly with the whole world.
And you still see that punk platform, that speed and directness being used to speak out against modern problems. Climate change, political corruption, social injustice.
So the spirit of it is just as relevant now as it was back in the 70s. It's a reminder that powerful ideas don't need fancy production.
They just need passion.
Yeah.
Punk is really a framework for expressing yourself, for challenging the rules, and for finding other people who want to make the world a more honest place.
Good luck with your studies.